Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Cryptids and Monsters video. Alright, let's go ahead and let's do a new suggestion here for this playlist. This one having to do with a creature that is outright very creepy. Those of you that are scared of insects or all around find them very unsettling, this is definitely not for you, especially with regards to how this creature looks, the size of it, and then how it attacks as well. In fact, imagine those of you that are scared of insects, this will absolutely just make you faint right there on the spot. Plus, there's an exact location that you can go find this creature. You know how much I love those exact spots that I mentioned here on these videos. But you're looking at a representation of it now. Has a very unique name as well. I'm thinking that the T is silent, but someone let me know. But I think it's called the Tlanusi. So let's go ahead and let's talk about all the fascinating info associated with this creature. It's a dangerous one, pretty deadly, and I'll highlight some of those examples here in just a moment. So what is this Tlanusi? Well, it also has a different name associated with it. It's known as the Great Leech. Apparently, it's a Cherokee legend, so it's something that has been passed along with regards to their culture for who knows how long. If you wanted to find out exactly where it's at, you have to go to North Carolina, and then there's a river that's called the Valley River, and then right there where the Valley River joins an area called Hiwassee at a place called Murphy, that's where this leech, where this Tlanusi is apparently found. And you specifically, if you wanted to go even further to an exact spot, there's a junction there that's associated with a deep hole, and that's apparently where this creature is. It may even form some kind of bridge as well. So those of you that live near that specific spot that know exactly what I'm talking about, next time you're there, this is essentially where this creature is found. Let's talk about the creepy aspects associated with its physical characteristics. The reason why it's called the Great Leech is because of this. It's really a very large leech. So imagine something that is your average leech but supersized. We're talking something that, I don't know, if you imagine like a sci-fi movie that's dipped in radioactivity and then it grows to many times its size, that's essentially what it is. It's considered a very large leech. It has these reddish and white stripes associated with it, but otherwise it has just those creepy segments, and then also those legs, and then also I guess the slithering notion of it, and then the mouth as well of a leech. Everything that would make most people just creep out whenever they see something like that slithering close to them. Well, that's essentially what this creature is, but many times larger. There's no exact length associated with it, just because of the fact that it seems to hide itself very well, despite the fact that it's been in that Cherokee Legend status for a good while. No one else has really been able to get a good sighting of it, let alone happen to capture one and then go into specifics as to its lengths and the rest of its composition. Instead, those are the main physical characteristics associated with it. But otherwise, you do not want to come across this creature there at that location. This is because it has a very dangerous tactic. This is what it does. According to some of the stories that I was reading online, this area there used to be a location for Cherokees to be able to go and then either wade in the water, do something in the water, maybe like fish, or all around just do other items or activity associated with the water. But there they saw, as two men, apparently there in the Cherokees as culture, saw what they described as something stretching itself out along a rock. They thought it looked like a very large leech. They called it a Great Leech. It had all those red and white stripes that I was mentioning earlier, but interestingly enough, it was rolled up into a ball at first. That's why they didn't really see like what truly it was or what it was about to do. But after some time, this Tlanusi, seemed to have noticed them, because it started to then unstretch itself. You could just imagine the noise that it would make as well, especially if it was a quiet area around that part. And then when it stretched out right there at full length, it decided to go down into the water next to the rock that it was otherwise laying in. And so, of course, the men were wondering what's going to happen next. But then all of a sudden, they saw this right there in the water, somewhere near it. near them specifically, they saw that the water began to boil and foam. And if it wasn't for this telltale sign ahead of them, then all of a sudden they wouldn't have seen what's next. All of a sudden, a huge, great column of this water, some kind of white spray water, came out straight from that location. It was thrown high into the air, and then it created some kind of water spout as it landed. And when that happened, it was right there where those men were. In other words, it was purposeful. It was not by sheer coincidence. This was actually something to cause them, if they got hit, to be able to then be swept into the water, and then they would become victims of this great leech. So that's what it does. It goes into the water, and then it finds its target, and then it uses something, either within its body or its actions of its body, to be able to create that very large sprout. And then when that happens, it causes people to slip, fall, get dragged into the water, whatever it may be, and then they become the next victim. And people have found bodies there in that location, which interestingly enough are consumed, but only the ears and the nose. Everything else is apparently still there. The person is dead. They drowned right there in the water, and then the great leech had all day to do what it did afterward, but it pretty much just did that to its ears and the nose of a person. But otherwise, that's how it would claim the lives. In fact, there was other stories about a young man who laughed at this whole story and then decided that he was going to go up to that leech. He was not afraid of it. He went to that valley river, and then he saw this type of activity happening, and then no one knows what happened to him, but he was never ever seen again. In fact, he was so prideful of what he was doing, like he was so boastful of it, that he was apparently singing. He had these high spirits associated with him, but all that just pretty much meant nothing to the great leech, and no doubt that they became another victim. Later on, there was another story associated with a woman and her baby. She took the baby over to that area because she wanted to get some fish. Even though she had heard the stories associated with this fearful cryptid, she decided she still wanted some because she got tired of quote-unquote fat meat, and like red meat and so on. So she wanted to instead get some fish. But she too saw that all of a sudden the water started to boil. There was a white foam, and then sure enough, there was that water spout that came out. And so she was able to run off in time and did so with her child, and so nobody got hurt. But again, it shows that there's definitely some kind of creature that's there. Some of the telltale signs, by the way, of people knowing that a creature is there is apparently when they're in that water and they look down into it, they see something slithering, like something is alive right there on the very bottom, but it's very hard to distinguish its shape because of the ripples associated with the water that it causes. But once they see that, then that's when they start moving as quickly as possible away, because the people that know that area know that it could be the leech and is once again moving about. Now, how this creature moves to other areas is this. Apparently, there's an underground waterway that is right there in that location, and it could connect to another river called the Nautilus River, and so that's where the creature could go as well, and then that's where it's also been called as the Nautilus Leech Place because of the sightings that are associated with that location too. But otherwise, that's pretty much it. There's not much other info linked to this cryptid. It's a dangerous one that's again been there a good while in terms of Cherokee Legends, and it still actively hunts humans, and it enjoys coming up across them, and then obviously using its tactic to throw its water out there, or to use the water surrounding it to be able to lure people or claim them right into the river itself. So if you wanted to go to that exact spot, again, just absolutely go with caution. Who knows if it's still there to this very day? But otherwise, if you see it from far away, at least you'll be able to see something that looks pretty unique. Definitely when it comes to a supersized leech like this, it will make an impression. And so who knows, someday some kind of photograph or some kind of video clip might show up sometime soon, and then that's where people will see it there. But otherwise, let me know what you guys and gals think. All right, everybody, thanks again as always. Take care. Bye.